Hello, Sim here. So the guide is finally here. Yes, it uses throttling, but the numbers have changed, and we'll talk about why later in the video. The kill sequence I promised you guys is coming up with a nice little countdown timer for a bit of fun. The other key ingredient is to use a hardwired connection. Do not use wireless. Use an Ethernet cable, and if you don't want to have a cable trailing around the house, use a power line adapter. Do it. It makes sense. So the solution uses features found on our TP-Link routers. I'm going to cover how to do it, and nope, I am not sponsored by them. This channel is a pure hobby and I make zero money. I will also be showing you some of their cheap routers, think £20 or so. But first of all, I'm going to show you how to do the router stuff. Right, so we're now on my router and I'm going to get this out of the way straight away. My router is a TL-WDR4900 because I know there's going to be comments asking me what router I have. So, next thing I'm going to mention is I do not use a DMZ. I have all of my consoles and PCs behind the firewall, which is what the switch on router provides you to protect me from hackers. You do not need to put your console or PC in a DMZ, which means it exposes no firewall. Got that bit out of the way. So next, UPnP. Make sure this is enabled. And let me just shrink this over to the right. Make sure it's enabled. This does all the port forwarding for you. Now, I've recently rebooted my router, so you won't see any sort of ports and things that have opened up for gaming applications. It does it automatically for you. You don't need to muck about with what's called port forwarding or port triggering that it notes here. It does it all for you by UMP automatically. Now, to make sure that this works, you need to make sure that your NAT is also on. This particular router has a software and a hardware NAT. They sort of work in combination. So imagine it as a accelerated graphics card type thing. It's accelerated hardware. Makes it faster doing the stuff I need it to do. So you don't need to do port forwarding. So that's just the fundamentals. Now let's get to the stuff that you're really interested in. So what you need to do is you need to reserve yourself an IP address in the DHCP. So you go to your console router, and this lot's going to be grayed out so I don't want my MAC addresses exposed to the world. So you have to go to your console PC and it will tell you what your MAC address is. You can also go to your DHCP clients list if your machine's on, and it will tell you like, okay, it's registered my own PC here, and I'm going to grey out the MAC address. And it will tell you what the MAC address is. Now you know that. You can come in here and do add new. Type in that MAC address on this particular, and this is one I faked and pretended up earlier. Type that in, and on this particular router you've got to do dashes. Sometimes it's colons. Depends on the flavor of the day for that particular router. Here's the IP address that I want to associate with my, let's say, my gaming PC or gaming console. That one there, I click save. Now right at this stage, I've added in a new IP address. I would suggest that if you've got your console on, that you switch your console off. So then you click reboot here because you've said that my 192.168.0.160 is going to be associated with my gaming console. So right now I'm going to click reboot and then click reboot again. And then your router will do the restart, and I'll speed this bit up and we'll continue after it's rebooted. Okay, so we're back. The router has been rebooted. I don't have a reboot sign down here. So to recap, I have UPnP enabled, I have NAT enabled, and I've got my MAC address for my console associated with the static IP address that I need here. On the console, you just say connect to router, ordinary, just use automatic. It will pick up the by DHCP the IP address automatically and get assigned this 192.168.0.160 in this particular case. So having done that, we set the foundations for bandwidth control. So I only have a router, so it's dumb. It doesn't know the upload. Yes, egress is upload. Ingress is download. I don't know why they don't say just upload, download. It'd be much more easier, but hey. So I know that from speed test. Now, if you have a modem router, the modem will tend to tell the router, because they're both in the same box, what the actual upload and download speed is. So you'll possibly need to do a little reboot a few times, see what the max values are, and then back it off slightly, because if it's like my old ADSL modem, if these values just slightly exceed the ones that are being reported by your router, or sorry, your modem, then it will effectively disable bandwidth control. So if you've got a modem router, then make sure that these numbers are slightly lower to make sure that the rules stay in effect. So I don't enable this right now. I'll come back to that in a minute. So next we go to the rules list, and what we're going to do here is add in a new rule. We've got our little IP address that we just created, 192.168. There we go, nice. I leave these two fields completely blank. You've got range of all, or protocol of all. TCP, UDP, you don't need to know about it. Just leave it as all. Now this is where the magic comes in. So egress is upload. So for party and solo play and multiplayer, I recommend 384. If you only play solo, you can go down to 320, but between 320 to 384. So if I wanted that, I could say 320 here, and that would be the min and max. But if you've got super duper bandwidth and nobody's using it, you can get 384. So I'm just going to leave that as 384. Hopefully I haven't confused. And then here I want 1024, which is 1 meg up, or should I say 1 meg down. So 384 kilobits up and 1 meg down. I click save. So now that rule is active here. See, it's enabled. I could disable it, but I want to keep it enabled. Now, when I come to gaming and I'm about to play COD, because I only put the throttling on when I'm playing COD, then I go, okay, save. And now the throttling is done and it's in effect. So another tip I would just say that I'd recommend that before you actually launch the game, enable the bandwidth control first, because I reckon that when it goes into multiplayer, it does a bit of testing. When it says logging onto Xbox Live, I have no idea what it does on PS4, but when it's connecting, doing all that connecting stuff at the beginning, it's probably doing some network testing right then. So I recommend that before you even load the game, enable this save, and hey presto, job's a good one. And that's all there is to it. So the gameplay you're watching right now, playing in a full party almost, there's 5 of us, and it consists of UK and US players, and it works provided that I am the party leader. So in my previous videos I've talked about skill-based matchmaking, and the matchmaking service put you in lobbies with players of a similar skill level. The connection part of Advanced Warfare, however, feels like an afterthought. So to help out the matchmaking service, we throttle to get good skill-based connections. And 9 out of 10 times we get close winning games. You know, there's good connection and there's no bullets going around corners, known as wanted bullets. So I recognise that one should not have to buy a special router just to play a game, and in the ideal world, game developers would fix their lag comp code. However, the main code fix has come out within the first week or so, and there's going to be no future patches for this type of issue, having seen trends of past COD patches. I just expect to see from now on patches that address weapon balancing and exploits. So let's get on to the router suggestions. For those of you who are on ADSL, I suggest the TP-Link TD-W8968 for about 30 quid. For those of you who are on fibre or cable, providing you can switch your ISP supplied router into a modem only mode, or you have a separate modem supplied, you can pick the following: a TL-WR841N for about 20 quid. If you're feeling a bit snazzy, you can go for the TL-WDR3600 for 45 quid. If you have a VDSL such as BT Infinity, but you don't have a modem, and your router doesn't have a modem only mode such as BT Home Hub 5, you can either use eBay to go and get a VDSL modem for around 10 to 20 quid, or alternatively get a VDSL modem router such as the TP-Link TD-W9980. So as always, I appreciate a like, so give it a thumbs up. As always, I'm interested in your guys' experiences, so please do drop a comment. And if you're not already subscribed, go and hit that subscribe button. Until next time, this has been Sim.